Ale. I think I got it right. Did I get it? Did I get it closer? I looked up on like pronounce.com how to actually say it, and I was like, okay, that's important to me. Ale. Oh God, I can't get the accent right on it. I sound like so American when I go Ale. No, Ale. I gotta work on that. But anyways, what a beautiful name. I also learned it means because I think I mentioned in our last video that I love etymology. Wait, where is it? I think what the heck? I think it had something to do with brewing beer, which I love. I think that's awesome. So, hello, I'm back again. And I have my computer in front of me because, oh wait, I don't actually need it because ignore everything I just said. So, I wanted to pick up where I didn't have time originally to devote the proper amount of time to your questions that I thought they deserved. So, let me answer the quicker ones first. That I hadn't answered last time. Or I don't remember. If I repeat myself, forgive me, please. Whatever. I'm going to move forward. I'm fixating. I'm going to move forward. Fave food and sport. I love that. So, there's a few things. I really love sushi a lot. And I live in Southern California, so, well, you probably get some good sushi. I love really good sushi. There's this one dish in particular. It's from Katsuya. The particular Katsuya in Studio City, it has to be. It's called Salmon Special. And I really want that. That sounds freaking delicious. It's one of my all-time favorite foods ever. Another one of my all-time favorite foods ever, specifically, is from this Italian restaurant that I love right near Universal Studios, Universal City. It's called Cadel Soleil. And it's the mezzalune pasta, so it's a pumpkin pasta, which you probably know, and it's or ravioli, I mean. Has sage on top, and I don't know why, but it's like so good. It's so good. It's one of my absolute favorite dishes in the world. Salmon Special. What else? I mean, I have so many favorite foods. I'm just trying desperately. I think a lobster roll. You know, I'm an East Coast gal. I'm from Massachusetts originally, and so a good old like East Coast lobster roll is. I'm just realizing I really am a sucker for. I love a good sandwich. I love tostadas. I love a classic, like, tortilla chip with a really good, fresh, tomato-based salsa dip. There's something so... Oh, the heart yearns for that. Now I want all of those things. So anyways, several favorite foods, and I'm probably missing out. What else? I love so many foods. I love Nutella. Oh God, straight from the bucket. Spoon Nutella in me. Delicious. Favorite sport? Hockey and soccer / football. Like soccer, football. You know what I mean. I love hockey so much. I always have since I was a kid. And I started getting into football or soccer. I feel bad saying soccer. I know it's football everywhere else in the world. But yeah, those are my two favorite sports. So my teams are, for hockey, it's the Boston Bruins for sure. And then for soccer, my American team is LAFC, the Los Angeles Football Club. And I also have a favorite English team from the Premier Club. So my favorite football club in the Premier League is Arsenal. Wait, hold on. That is so weird. My dog. I thought I heard my dog, and whatever. What did both roles mainly teach you? Oh gosh, that's a longer question. I'll be honest. The Power Rangers role was so short that, like, I spent very little time on, like, it was such a short role that I can't, and it was so long ago, like 20 years ago, I can't really pinpoint anything I learned from it. I did learn that when there is asbestos in a warehouse that you're shooting in and the production team suddenly finds out, that they will evacuate the set immediately and stop shooting for the day. So I guess in that sense, I learned that, like, you know, on modern sets, safety protocols are taken very seriously, which is very comforting to me, and that's the way it should be. So actually, I guess it gave me a better sense of security, just working in my industry. And for Akeelah and the Bee, that taught me, I mean, I learned a lot about spelling bee world, which is just fascinating and beautiful. I love it. But it also taught me in the audition process to just go for it. I know that sounds like generic, but I remember being in the callback and feeling what, like, I wasn't going to be as good as I could be in that moment. Like, the emotions weren't happening for me in the way I pre-planned it. Like, not pre-planned too much. But in that moment, I just had this instinct in me, and I was really young then, to go, it doesn't matter that I don't feel perfectly ready in this moment. Because I think I mentioned to you before, I have OCD. Like, I have actual OCD, and it's horrible. So I get really, and this also overlaps a bit, I know, with ADHD and autism as well. That sense of, like, needing something to feel just right, like this completeness feeling. So there's a sense that goes between the three, I know. And so there was this part of me in the audition that, like, you know, I'm acting, and you never know what's going to happen. When you're acting, like, I mean, it's real human emotion. Who knows what's going to happen on the day, you know? And I remember feeling like not all as present as I could have been. But then in that moment, quite young, accepting that and going, whatever, it's okay. Because I can get, like, stuck in my mind, like a lot of us can, of, oh, wait, no, this isn't how I planned it to be. This isn't how it was supposed to happen. Or I know I can do better than this. Or just like, no, this isn't right. This isn't how I curated this moment to happen. And that's the real killer, is getting so fixated on an idea that I had of something that it makes it really hard for me to sometimes be present. I know this is probably universal to a certain degree, and you might resonate with this too. Which is, I'll be in a moment, and if it's not happening just as I thought it would, and even that is elusive too. I'm like, what is that even, like, did I even, whatever. I start judging myself and noticing myself, and then I get in my head rather than just flowing with the moment, which is really hard to do. But if you can just, I learned in that moment, Akeelah and the Bee, that if I could just accept, easier said than done, but it can be practiced, this letting go sense. And believe me, it's easier said than done, but it is possible. Is that in that moment, I let go and I thought, okay, I'm not in the emotional space that I kind of wanted and needed to be in for this role in this moment, this audition with, like, these huge producers. And I thought, okay, that's okay. I'm going to stop fixating. This happens really quick, right? I'm going to stop fixating on my idea of what could be. And I'm going to recognize that this moment is a new start point. And that's been so effective for me in life too, of, you know, having the idea of how something should be. And obviously this isn't a perfect fix. There still is an element of, like, well, this should, you know, but as much as I am able to in the moment, let go and accept and give myself the grace of realizing this can be a new start, this moment right now. Every new moment can be a new start. And let me go from this moment rather than the idea of what this moment would be. And from that, my performance switched. And I worked with what I had in the moment. And I'll tell you, I even faked something. And I usually don't do that in audition. I won't let myself fake anything. By that, I mean, I won't pretend I'm crying. I will only like do the sobbing sound if that's actually happening to me internally. But in that moment, I gave myself like a hall pass to pretend for a minute. Which in a way got me to a higher truth. Use that sparingly, because that can't necessarily be used in actual real interpersonal moments, because it's different to like lie in a character than in real life. At least to that degree. But the point of it is I learned that moments can change from what I thought they would be. And that's not an indication that anything has gone wrong, or that I'm bad, or I'm doing bad, or that it's not worth doing. And I'm still working on that myself. And that actually can be applied, because one of the things you mentioned is advice with autism, which is that feeling of like when you feel like something's like not going right, or you're like, I mean the proverbial you, of course. When one realizes or has this feeling or this sense or this thought of, wait, no. This is not what it's supposed to be. This isn't going right. This isn't what this was supposed to be, something else for any situation in life. It's that self-judgment. And again, all of this is so much easier said than done, LA. Like, so much easier said than done. But again, can be done and is possible, especially the more like you practice it. Like you would practice a sport. I've discovered this myself, by the way, just recently with psychology and stuff. I'm like, oh wow, the mind can be rewired, and you to a degree, and you can practice different reactions and behaviors and stuff to a degree that is effective, whatever. So I hope that's making sense. But the way that I think that it's helpful is that moment of, no, this isn't what I expected. This isn't what I wanted. Things have gone wrong. To be able to pause, and I know that, but this is true, actually pause physically. Like take a couple, like, slow breaths. And this, I know it sounds like so simple to be true, but truly taking slow, deep breaths actually actively re-regulates the nervous system in every human being. And even if it's just a little regulation, it's just enough to, like, I found this in myself, to give myself that little, like, moment of clarity to see something as it is a little bit more, rather than, like, my, the narrative I've created in my mind. So to give yourself, like, a couple breaths, and what I do personally is I breathe in. There's a few ways to do it, but, like, I'll breathe in, and to have this, like, ready in your back pocket as a tool. One of my favorite ones is to breathe in through my nose slowly for, 4 seconds or 5 seconds? And then I'll hold my breath at the top, not clenching, but just trying to relax into the held breath for 3 seconds. And then slowly through the mouth while making a sound, 7 seconds out. And then I'll do that once, 3 times, whatever. And that already brings me back to the present. And then I'm able to proceed forward at that new start point, rather than putting this like preconceived idea of what I should have done or could have done on myself, because that just shuts the whole system down. And if you're neurodivergent, like you and I both are, it's just extra mayhem that it adds to the system by being overwhelmed, and because it cuts you off from your prefrontal cortex more, which is the reasoning center, the emotional regulation center. That's just true in all human beings. And if we get stressed, we're literally being cut off from our reasoning and our emotional regulation. And then if we're neurotypical not neurotypical, if we are neurodivergent, that's what I meant the whole time. On top of that, our systems can get dysregulated more quickly, and then neurotypical folks. I mean, they still can, but like our systems can kind of be like, you know, a switch can be flipped really quick. And the plummet is also fast and deeper, you know? And so, but just like all nervous systems, gaining presence and calmness physically in our system then helps us go from a place that is not as reactive. You know, like, I don't know if you might have sensory sensitivities. I know I do. I know I have ADHD and OCD. I don't know if I have autism. I definitely show some signs of it, but I also know that there's a lot of crossover traits between those disorders. But I definitely have sensory sensitivities, and I've noticed, like, for instance, with that can become so overwhelming that, again, like, it's not trying to change, or it's never trying to change it's never trying to change myself in the moment to force myself to not be affected by a sensory thing, as an example. That's not possible. Nobody can do that. It's starting from within to let my nervous system calm and regulate, which is possible. And then once that happens, the sensory overload naturally lessens. And that's been really powerful for me. And your cognition comes back online a little bit more. And so, yeah, with autism, like, because that applies to ADHD really hard, and I think it does to autism as well. Again, all human beings, but to us especially. And you can even Google, I don't have the time, like, because the thing is going to cut me off soon. You can Google, like, somatic, SOMATIC. I'll probably want to, if Spanish is, like, your native language, though, and it's more comfortable for you, you might want to just translate it to that. But somatic exercises for autism, like, just Google that. And there's certain things that you can do, because I started to learn this, that, like, you know how sometimes you're so overwhelmed that it feels like I just can't do anything? Well, I have found ways to be like, okay, I feel like I can't do anything right now, but you know what? I can take 10 seconds to take one deep breath. And then you find, like, the baseline of, okay, what can I do in this moment? Even if it feels like, what's the point? That feels like nothing. It's actually not true. It's scientifically not true. Doing the minimum of what you can in a moment is scientifically effective. It really is. It's like the runway of a plane, right? You just need, like, that jetting off point, and it literally can start shifting things. And one of the best ways to do that, so, like, yeah, look up, like, one of my suggestions is somatic exercises for autism, somatic exercises for sensory, or whatever you want to work on, because it kind of focuses on doing, like, physical stuff. Like, this is, like, a random example, but it has to do with, like, the brain. I'll take forever to say this, but you may have seen this, but, like, by tapping the opposite hand on the opposite side of the body, and, like, finding a pace, you can even do it, and just trying to focus on, like, that. Well, not forcing yourself. You can actually do it and let your mind be as loud as it is, and be like, you can say, okay, mind, you can be loud. That's another big part of it, is allowing yourself to feel how you feel in the moment. Because I find myself be like, oh my God, I'm so stressed. And, like, oh, why can't I just focus? Why can't I just, no. The moment of, you know what? I am having trouble focusing right now. Or, you know what? I am feeling really overwhelmed right now. Or I'm feeling irritable or whatever. None of those are pleasant feelings. But to be able to say, but you know what? That's okay. It's okay that I feel like shit right now. Like, I'm not saying it's okay like it feels good, but I'm a human and I'm allowed to not feel good all the time. Taking that judgment away is really, really helpful. That's something, like, it takes time to do it, but it makes a big difference. And same with, I don't know if you struggle with, like, picking up on social cues or stuff. I know that's, like, a common thing, and I have that a little bit myself, especially when I'm stressed. But I have to say, because I'm trying to move on quick, because this thing is going to cut me off in about a minute. If that's one of the things that you find you struggle with, which is, like, social interactions. Because, by the way, I can just tell by this, and I looked at your Instagram real quick, even though technically on Cameo I'm not supposed to go to a different platform, but I looked at your Instagram really quick. You're clearly very intelligent and bright and just smart. And so I'm sure it's extra confusing when there's, like, a social situation, if this happens to you and you're missing cues. So what I want to say to that real quick, is about to cut me off, is all people do this, but I think folks like us with autism and ADHD do it extra. We will believe someone is judging us often more than they actually are. So just remind yourself of that that we're probably picking up on micro cues on